DJ Lagway is reportedly dealing with another injury heading into fall camp.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, right, as the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Tuesday, or not so happy, right? I am Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI. And so DJ Lagway is reportedly dealing with another injury here at the start of fall camp. Rumors started circulating, I want to say late last week, and then this weekend, rumors started circulating that DJ Lagway was in a walking boot at the time. And I know that there were, which by the way, like, you're not cool if you just tweet cryptic things. I just want to throw that out there. But there are a trillion different ways that rumors can spread. And by the way, tweeting cryptic things is exactly how those things happen, is exactly how those rumors start to spread and get worse and worse, because you go, oh, there we go again. Season's over, and people start speculating about it being a major injury. So one, you're not cool too, kind of a tool. Just want to throw that out there real quick about spreading rumors. And if you are someone who celebrates, if you're a rival fan that's watching and looking at Twitter and you're celebrating DJ Lagway being banged up, you are a chronic loser, and you will be for the rest of your life. It's incredible. Just want to throw those things out there. So DJ Lagway reportedly in a walking boot, and On3, 24/7, they all started reporting it officially at around the same time, which tells me that this was a thing that they brought to the staff, as in that the beat brought to the staff, and that they were given their responses at generally the same time. And so they had everything written, got the official go-ahead green light, and sent it out. Again, that's just me purely speculating on how it went, just based on the consistency in the reporting and the time that the reports came out. Again, were generally at the same time. And so it was reported that DJ Lagway had a calf strain that happened in team run. And so the reporting is consistent in terms of, yes, walking boot, calf strain, happened on team run, all that consistent. Where the reporting gets inconsistent, and part of that is probably due to the rumors that have been circulating and people speculating, and some places are going to say that it's more severe than it really is. Some places are going to say it's not as severe as it really is. But where it's really inconsistent is the severity, right? Because we've seen, I think it was On3 worded it very peculiar, where basically saying, not sure how long he's going to be out, not sure how much time he's going to miss, if he's going to miss any time at all. And of course, that's the, I think, optimistic side of, well, maybe he can play through it completely, right? Walking boot for the days leading up to camp, and then full go, or at least, out of the walking boot, and maybe he's not doing the running or the jogging, and he's not escaping the pocket, but he's able to drop back and make passes and operate as a pure pocket passing quarterback for a bit. Maybe, right? I don't think that's the case. I'll say that. I don't think he's just going to be full go now that it's like, all right, well, we're putting the pads on. I'm just going to be full go, and we'll be able to, walk everything else off, essentially. From who I spoke to, I expect him to miss a week or so, which honestly, not ideal, right? No one's going to pretend that it's ideal. not the worst case, and I will say I'm not concerned. If he misses the first week of camp, I'm not going to be too concerned. Mostly because, well, first week of camp is generally more laid back, more, getting into the flow, getting into the rhythm, establishing everything with this team. And so it's not as concerning for me if you miss, the first week. If we start talking about 2 weeks or more, then yeah, sure, I'll be concerned because personally, I do need DJ Lagway to get at least a few weeks of work and live controlled reps, I'll say. Because those live controlled reps are better than working with a trainer. When you're working with a trainer, you can make any throw in the world, right? But if you're not doing it in an 11-on-11 setting against an actual 11-man defense that's SEC athletes, it's not as helpful, right? You got to go out there, especially for someone like DJ Lagway, where the main thing you need to work on with your game is, aside from, being out there, the main thing you need to work on with your game is mental processing. And that's the thing that, again, we've pretty consistently said is only going to get better by going out there and doing it. And so we need to get a few weeks of work with live controlled reps out there. I will say this, just someone in the Locked On Gators Discord brought up the conversation around being injury prone. And it's interesting because there's different takes on, just what injury prone means. We're not going to get into that because that's going to take far too long to get nowhere, really. Because the general gist is going to be, well, people define things differently. Some people talk about, well, injury prone because he keeps getting the same injury, right? He had a player, we'll say, not going to say anybody specifically, and I'll knock on wood just to not jinx anything. But player A had a left knee, tore his ACL in his left knee, right? And a year or two later, tears it again. The next year, he has another injury in that same knee, and that's different. Some people talk about it just always being hurt for some reason, or there always being something. I just hope out of this, and again, I don't care to have the conversation about injury prone. It's a waste of time. But I hope that they can figure out these seemingly unrelated injuries and sort them out. Because I honestly, I will say personally, I do feel better about multiple injuries if they're unrelated things. But I do hope that they can figure out the seemingly unrelated injuries and sort them out. Whether it's that DJ Lagway needs more stretching or has been stretching too much, which is a thing. I realize that there's going to be people in the comments that are going to say that that's not a thing. There is such a thing as stretching too much. Whether it's his hydration level, whether it's his diet, I have no clue what it can be, right? That's not my job. I'm not the one that gets paid 6-7 figures to handle that. I'm the one that gets paid to talk about it. And so I don't know what it is exactly. I don't think they know what it is exactly. And I don't think you can really know what it is exactly. But I do hope that there's an added emphasis on preventative measures for DJ Lagway. Because obviously the best ability is availability, and he has not been available consistently and fully healthy basically since he arrived on campus. And this will hopefully get figured out at some point. I will say, with all that being said, my expectations are not changing. Throw that out there. This is a college football playoff roster. Okay? This is a head coach that makes 7 figures in year 4 in the SEC. This is not up for debate. The expectations are not changing. College football playoff roster. College football playoff expectations. Sure, injuries can happen, and maybe you get a little bit lenient with the expectations. Maybe you get a little bit more understanding if expectations are not met. But quarterback isn't the only reason that this is a college football playoff roster. The roster is the reason that this is a college football playoff roster. And so whether or not Lagway misses a week of camp, whether or not he misses any time at all, whether or not they choose to sit him out in terms of a precautionary measure against Long Island, I don't care, which I wouldn't do, honestly. I would treat that game like a practice for him. I'd say, hey, we're going to just let you sit through, read through coverages, work through coverages, get live reps, and then get out of here once we get a big enough lead. But expectations don't change, okay? Especially when I think that, let's say they do keep him out of the Long Island game, which again, I don't think is going to happen. This is purely speculation at this point, especially with a thing like calf strain. It's not as if there's, a consistent predictive recovery. You can have expectations and people can meet those expectations. They can be ahead of expectations, behind them. It can change. But either way, I would fully expect him available for the meat of the schedule. And that's the expectation. Expectations are not changing. Make the college football playoff and then go on. And if you make a run, you make a run. If there's a shoulder, because again, the shoulder has been said like, oh, maybe at some point he'll need surgery. If you got to do that once the season ends, then do that once the season ends. Whatever it is, there needs to be a better way to approach going about this. And if you go through everything and you just determine, hey, these are just freak incidents that happen, then they're just freak incidents that happen. Because that's also a possibility, right? That we've seen it with players before, where it's like, yeah, 1 year he broke his foot, 1 year he broke his hand, the other year he tore something, whatever it may be. But they're just individual things that are completely unrelated and they just happened. Then we can accept that and we can hope that it'll get better. But I do think that there needs to be an added emphasis in actually addressing and hopefully preventing any other injuries coming here. I don't know. Maybe they go, hey, you know what? Maybe we were overly cautious in the spring with something, whatever you want to say it was. Maybe if this is the same leg as the hamstring, maybe it is connected to that. Maybe it's not completely unrelated. Whatever it is, I just hope that they go through this, take their time to figure it out, and put in some, again, or not put in some, but take some preventative measures to make sure that you have DJ Lagway for as much of you as you possibly can this season. Make sure DJ Lagway's long-term health is in care, and make sure that DJ Lagway is able to contribute for you as much as possible and as healthy as possible in 2025. The team reports today for camp, and we're going to talk about that when we get back with Locked On Gators. It's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. And let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized, right? I don't know about you, but I absolutely do. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that is the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use our promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. This code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion-flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day, every day. We are available daily and free, whether it's in the podcast and on YouTube. And the Florida Gators report back to camp, and we will talk about what we're looking forward to from the roster next segment. But first, we do have some information available about that roster, right? Asa Turner, safety that transferred over from Washington, is back. And I will say this, I said this to the Locked On Gators Insider program, I will gladly welcome him back as experienced depth. I have no problem with Asa Turner returning. I know that there's a lot of people who, I get it, right? I get that everybody that's a Florida Gators fan, when you think about Asa Turner, you think about the Miami 41-17 game, and you think about Xavier Restrepo was it a spin move and Asa Turner dropping, and that was it. That was the last anybody saw of him on a field in a Florida Gators uniform. And so I understand that a lot of Florida Gators fans do have a sour memory of Asa Turner on the team. But I also think that, and I'm not saying I don't, right? I absolutely have a sour memory of him on the team because outside of that one play, I don't think he was playing well in the rest of that game. It's not just one play happened and everyone is ostracizing him, right? It's not like he was playing, Thorpe Award level football, and then that play happened, and all of a sudden everyone turned on him. He wasn't playing well. I don't think he was playing awful, but he wasn't playing well. And then that play happened. And adding on to it that it was a 41-17 blowout loss in the swamp, there's nothing good about that game, right? No one wants to remember that game. But when you think about Asa Turner, you remember that game because you think about that game. And he's coming back for another year because he only played one game last year. And he gets like the extra eligibility, which I know that there's people that go, oh, well, I thought he was out of eligibility. Not if you play one game. You're almost always, I think, going to get that medical red shirt waiver filled out. I think that's always going to happen when you play one game in a season, unless it's your fourth year missing time with an injury, then maybe. But like that was one of the reasons that Miami had Cam McCormick last year in year 9. That was why they had him, because he had so many years with injuries, and he just kept getting the medical red shirt. Rightfully so, by the way. I get it. I know people hate it, but I do think that it's fair to a player to say, hey, your career shouldn't be ended right now because you got hurt in your final year. I don't think it should be like, yeah, well, I tore my ACL my first 3 years, and then now I'm playing 8 years because of that. I don't think you should get those kind of back pay years, but I do think that it's fair that a guy like Asa Turner, who transferred, one last shot at the NFL, got injured in game 1, and then didn't play again. I think it's fair that he gets another year of eligibility. I have no problem with it. And he gives you experience depth to the position room, where many people wanted Florida to go into the portal and add more safety depth. Maybe if they did, Asa Turner wouldn't be here, but they didn't, and he is here. And so I get everybody being soured on him, but it's also very important to remember that not only did he play one game, he played less than one game. Like, it's not as simple as, hey, he played one game. He played less than one game. There were 71 defensive snaps in that game for Florida. He played 35. He didn't even play a half of the defensive snaps in that game. And again, I'm not justifying the play of him. I'm not justifying what he did on the field. I am saying, though, even if he played that entire game, and even if it was an awful game, it was game 1 in the defense, and that's not indicative of who someone is. If you felt good about if you felt good about Asa Turner joining the Florida Gators out of the transfer portal, coming from Washington, where it was like, yeah, he was there for a few years, but he was a significant contributor on a team that I forgot if they went to the championship, right? Pretty sure they went to the championship, or at least were in the college football playoff when it was 4 teams. Like, he was a significant contributor on that team. If you were cool with that addition, I don't know how you can't be cool with keeping him. One game should not change that. Because if he came in and played the best football you've ever seen a safety play against Miami, got hurt, and came back this year, you wouldn't be going, oh my God, we got the best safety of all time back. No, you'd say, all right, well, he looked great. We have him back. High expectations. I get it. But it was one game and he played less than half of it. It's tough to say definitively we know what he is. It's tough. I'm not saying he's going to be great. I want him to be safety 3, honestly, ideally safety 4. But if he's safety 3, then I'm okay with it. I think that you needed experience depth in the room. We talked about it in the transfer portal all the time. I'm fine with young guys learning and playing and developing, but you've got someone that has college football playoff experience on your roster. He's there. He's in the safety room. He's been in many high-level safety rooms. Just obviously, he was only at Washington and then Florida, but Washington secondary was great. Many NFL draft picks there. And he's back as a depth piece. I'm cool with it. And by depth, I do include safety 3. If he's safety 3, I'm saying non-starter. Another player, I guess transaction we'll call it, is that Air Force tight end Caleb Rillos is gone. He was supposed to be inline depth, came over from Air Force after the 2023 season, had to sit out the 2024 season, was dealing with an injury, all that stuff. And it was reported that, which this is a thing that I was told a while back, and it was so irrelevant that I kind of forgot about it until I saw yesterday someone sent a message to the group and was just like, hey, Caleb Rillos is gone. Kind of forgot about it until then, but he quit the team. Simple as that. And so all I can say about that is I really could not care less. That is what it is, right? Nothing else to say about it. Don't care. Good riddance. I want my team to go out there and compete for a national championship. Quitters don't do that. So we are going to talk about what else I'm going to be looking for from this roster when it comes out later today when we get back with Locked On Gators. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free, whether it's in the podcast and on YouTube. To wrap up today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about what we might see from this roster, right? Because, again, the Gators report for camp today. We will get our first roster, or not first roster because we had a spring one, but we'll get our first fall roster today. Once, weights are updated and all that, because players come in, they do their weigh-ins, they get through, and then they go on. And Tyler Miles, who, by the way, was kind of thrown into the strength and conditioning program leadership role too, has been doing just a phenomenal job, right? And he's someone who we also spoke about this toward the end of the season because I think it was his contract was running up and there were a bunch of people that were like, oh, don't re-sign him. We had these injuries, whatever it may be. I'm cool giving him as much money as he wants. If these, as long as I will say this, from the strength and conditioning side, they're doing a great job. I don't know how much of a part he plays in the preventative side for all the people that do argue about whatever injuries Florida had that I don't think were strength and conditioning for the most part. I don't know. Like I don't blame strength and conditioning for a lot of the injuries that Florida had last year. That doesn't make sense to me because we saw guys get hurt getting hit. I'm not blaming that on strength and conditioning if you're getting popped, right? If it's consistent, like, oh yeah, there's been a ton of hamstring injuries or a ton of calf or a ton of whatever injuries, then sure, you've got a valid case. But last year, I don't think you can blame really the injuries that at some points did pile up on strength and conditioning. That didn't make a lot of sense to me. But he's been just destroying, right? And I'm really looking forward to seeing what everybody looks like because we've seen a lot of guys, right, in clips and videos and pictures, and we've seen those. I'm hoping that we get more testing information than we've had previously because oftentimes we get like, oh yeah, this guy was the fastest in this position. This guy was the fastest in this position group. This guy had the highest bench press in the group, all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's fun, but I want to know what it looks like from top to bottom. And I doubt we're going to get that information, but I do want it. So I will say that for times and GPS speed and lifts, I just want to know what the numbers are, just so I know what the numbers are. But I will say this: one thing I'm looking forward to on this roster is the weights are going to be very different than what we're used to seeing. And I can't wait for it. That's one of my favorite things that teams started doing and that I love seeing is, and you can look at the Florida roster here as well, is the historical data that they have there. Like I'll look at Hayden because we've talked about Hayden a lot, Hayden Hansen. And when you click on historical there, it goes, yep, 2022 as a freshman, 2022 freshman tight end, 6'6", 256 pounds. 2023 redshirt freshman tight end, 6'6", 265 pounds. 2024 redshirt sophomore tight end, 6'7" and 3/4, 267 pounds. 2025 as a redshirt junior, 6'7", 3/4, 271 pounds. I want to know, like, I like seeing that first off when we go back, but I also want to know just what these numbers are, because you look at the workout clips and the pictures that come out, and like you see guys like Cormani McLean, who you look at his historical, and 2024 as a sophomore for Florida, 175 pounds. This spring, 182 pounds. I want to know what he's going to be listed at right now, because he looks like he just looks brolic right now. And so I want to know what some of these guys are going to look like. And it's not just, let's see, Tank Hawkins is listed as 5'9.5", 169. And I'm not even saying like, oh yeah, like I want to see what he's going to be at with, by the way, his freshman year, 176. So he lost weight from the end of his freshman year, or from the beginning of his freshman year to spring, which isn't surprising. But I want to know what he's going to be listed as now, because is he going to be listed at, like 180? What's that going to look like? Cameron Waits, right? 6'8", 370 pounds is what he's listed as right now. I want to know what he's listed at the time of recording this, which is before we get the updated numbers. I want to know what he's listed as now. Makai Boyero, I want to know what he's listed at. Like, I want to know these numbers, not because I'm going to look at the numbers and judge my opinion of the players based on the numbers, but it's information that it's incredible to watch the transformation that college athletes go through. Like, there was a guy, I don't even know who it was, I just saw it on Twitter the other day, he transferred from Arkansas to Cal and got jacked out of his mind in like 6 months. It's ridiculous to look at the transformation that these guys can make when you put them in a serious strength and conditioning program. And that includes everything, not just lifting, but that includes their diet and stretching and yoga and all that's, like, just all that. I love seeing that transformation, and that's one of my favorite things about today. You'll see number updates, position updates if there are any. It's going to be a fun time. I'm not going to lie. This is one of my favorite things to do. Just look at that. I'm a nerd. Who'd have thought? But it's fun to see, and I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow to talk more Florida Gators football. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work for New York Giants on SI, and I'll see you all next time.